Alright, Shalom, I'm giving all praise unto Yabashim Hashabashim Kohakodash. The ones under the apostles of great millstone, and the honest brothers that be pushing his truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And the brother everybody coming out here to give you this truth for the grace and mercy of Yahweh Bashim Hashabashim Kohakodash. Giving all praise unto Yabashim Hashabashim Kohakodash. It's going to be a relatively quick video based upon one of these videos that I've seen, a statement I've seen from an Israelite that's supposed to be in a position of leadership, but really is not doing the Lord's work sincerely. And there is some very suspicious agent activity that we could see, because we know certain things in terms of Esau and how he puts people into boxes, and how people within particular boxes they're gonna speak. So without much further ado, let me speak about this. And brothers already done videos on it, and this is the so-called commanding general Yohana, and the notion that there's going to be a black America, or he's hoping and dreaming for a black America, on a podcast. I might add, he said that on a podcast with, can't remember if it's people within the world or whatever, but nevertheless, we understand that that's not really the platform that the Most High said this word was going to go out there. So let's speak about the sentiment. The sentiment, we understand, is off. It's totally off. We're not looking for a takeover of the world right now within Esau's empire. We're looking for a demolition of the Edomite empire and the establishment of Yahushai's empire. And there's a little bit of detail that you really have to understand within that, okay? You have to really look at the details to understand what I'm saying there. When you're speaking about an uprising, an internal uprising, really that's what's happening within the spiritual sense. But within a physical sense, we are actually not doing or pushing any physical takeover against Esau outside of Yahushua taking him down. And when you look at the sentiment that gets pushed out there within other camps, it fits in the Project Rex, Project Megiddo box of thinking that there is this physical threat to Esau's rulership, right? That is the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans existing there, and ultimately Esau being justified in making a move. And again, like I said, the devil is in the detail. The devil is within the details, right? The devil's in the details. Esau's going to be taken down. Esau's going to be taken down by Yahushai. We're not taking down Esau. Esau's going to be taken down by Yahushai. Hence the book of Revelations, the 19th chapter, where it speaks about how that Yahushai was going to come having many crowns upon his head, representing the rulerships that he's going to take away from Esau, and the rulerships that the heathen have in conjunction with Esau. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense, because in essence I'm saying the same thing, but the process by which these guys will have you believe things are going to take place, they'll have you believe that they're just going to go out here and take Esau out. That's why they go out there to camp with guns and studs and a very militant gait about them. Right, they got that real militant gait about them, and there's a reason for that. And this is why we believe some of these guys have sold out onto the red Hebrew Edomite Esau, because when you look at the gait that they've got, the stereotype that they fit in, right, the categorio that they satisfy within Esau's infrastructure, they satisfy that militia, right, internal T-ist type of an individual that they're going to be justified in moving against, because their physical stance, that particular person's stance, is going to be anti the order of Esau. Now, ultimately, we are anti the establishment of Esau and his order, but we do it in a spiritual sense. That's why the scripture says our weapons of warfare are of a spiritual nature. Now, let's build from that point and add the wordings and add the statements that we've heard from these guys. What have they said? They said they want a so-called black America, and this is where my tinfoil hat, right, goes on, and that might be the title of the video. Okay, Black America, tinfoil hat moment. That might be the title of that particular video, this particular video that I'm going to upload. Because when I hear that, I start to think within my mind's eye, I'm thinking to myself, man, that sounds a little bit suspicious, a little bit too easy, right, a little bit too orchestrated. What's the general sentiment amongst Edomites right now? They want to have their imperialism back. They want to have the total control of America back again. They don't want Esau ain't messing around no more. Esau wants it all back. And when you start pushing a stance, especially exactly at the same time that Esau was pushing imperialism, but you're pushing now a situation where you're talking about specifically black imperialism, not Israelite imperialism, but black imperialism, right? Specific to America. I put my tinfoil hat on and say this sounds like a conspiracy, right? And remember what the word conspiracy means. It means to breathe with. Who are these guys breathing with? They're breathing with Esau. They're speaking the same notion that Esau's pushing, but they're pushing their side of it. Okay, in other words, when you see the two horns like a lamb pitted against each other, the left, the right paradigm that you see out here within the world, well, when you have a guy go on a podcast and he says he wants a black America, I get suspicious of a guy that says that. I'm not saying that's what happens. I'm not saying that's what's happened, but I get very nervous when I hear something like that. I'm like, yo, you're playing into the enemy's hands, and by what means are you playing into the enemy's hands? You see, with these guys, a lot of these guys have been paid off, so they play into the enemy's hands because they've been paid to play that particular what you call it? They've been paid to play that particular character. Okay, they've been paid to play that particular character. Remember, when you go into Esau and how he conducts himself upon the face of the earth, they don't want you to have no thought outside of a thought that they've created. You got to remember that Esau doesn't want to let you have a thought unless it's a thought that they've given you to think. Now, what do I mean by that? It means the vast majority of the groups out there on the earth have been infiltrated. So, if an Israelite camp was to be infiltrated, how can Esau make a move against them? By fashioning them to be a physical enemy and a physical threat to the dominance of the Edomite race within America, specifically America. Remember, there's a clear difference between desiring to have a rulership over the world, as it says within the scriptures, and having a rule over America specifically. That screams of a categoreo. That screams of a CIA op. That screams of a guy that's been told to say particular things. So when they make the move against the children of Israel, they're gonna play those same clips again and say, look, they always wanted a black America. That's what I think when I hear that. So I know I've got this scripture here, but really, you know, the time and the place for this particular precept has moved on. I hope the precepts that I have quoted, are sufficient in my case, in building this particular case that I've presented to you, brothers. But it'll be interesting to see what other brothers think when they post their comments on the comment board. But yeah, the notion of a black America, and you're pushing that out there to the world, I get suspicious with that. That sounds like they used to say out here within England. That sounds booky. That sounds like you've been paid off to say a particular thing to push a particular narrative. And when they come and say, look, this group of people have been doing X, Y, and Z, they're gonna play clips like that and say, see, they wanted a black America, not an Israelite dominated world, which is consistent within the scriptures, but specifically a black America. And we know from the legislation that's been signed, the thing of protecting America's so-called dominance and whatever, we know there's laws about that. Okay, you know, America, and you know, with all of this tech, all of this AI, and all of this stuff that they're bringing forth, the pre-crime and everything, we gotta understand that, like brother, when you're saying stuff like that, yeah, that's suspicious, man. That's very suspicious. In any event, I hope this video has been edifying. Without my say, praise unto you, Bashim Mashai, Bashim Kora, Korash, double honor unto the apostles of great millstone, and I honor you, brothers, that we're pushing this truth in sincerity. I'll see you on the next one. Shalom.